Well, joining me now in the studio is Jackie Cotterill from the Birmingham and Midland Society for Genealogy and Heraldry. Jackie, thank you for taking the time out to come and visit me. I can imagine you've had an extremely busy day.
Oh, it's been very busy.
So first day of the show, how's it gone?
Well, very successful from our point of view, and I should imagine the organisers' point of view. The queues were out the door even before we opened this morning, so it's been really a good day.
Brilliant, because I know it's the 10th year in total, but it's only the second year at Birmingham, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
And
yes.
so you were at London before?
Yes, we were at Earl's Court before, but that's been refurbished, so they decided to come to the Midlands, which from our point of view, and people up north, is brilliant because it cuts travel time.
Yeah, I mean, have you noticed a difference in the amount of people coming? Or?
Perhaps not so much this year so far, but last year we did. We had lots and lots of people that came down for Scotland and places like that perhaps might not go down to London.
Yeah.
It's a long way.
And I mean, a show like this year, what are the highlights? What do people go there for?
They go there, well, mainly because of the television programme, obviously, and the television programme always makes it look so easy that you can find your ancestors. And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It depends where they came from. But people like Ancestry and Find My Past, they have big stands there and they're free to use. So people can go on the stand and have a look and search for those elusive ancestors.
And you mentioned there the show Who Do You Think You Are? Obviously that's brought, genealogy and searching for your ancestors very much into the now, and it's very popular, isn't it, at the moment?
Oh, it is. It's become more and more popular, mainly because the records obviously have become easier to find. I mean, when I started, you really had to search your way through paper records. There wasn't index, and censuses, for instance. I can remember going into Birmingham and just turning pages and pages of censuses to find my ancestors, because there was no other way of doing it.
And so tell me about the Birmingham Midland Society for Genealogy and Heraldry. What sort of service do you provide there?
Well, like most family history societies, we're there to help our members. We don't do the research for them. We do help them if they get stuck or want to know where records are, or in our case and many other family history societies, we transcribe records and we publish them and things like that. So we're always pointing people in the right direction, and we have our own reference library in Birmingham, which has 8,500 publications in there, mainly because we cover such a large area.
Wow. So yes, in Birmingham, those the details, are they just for people in this area then?
Well, we cover the three pre-1974 counties of Staffordshire, Warwickshire and Worcestershire, and the reason for that was originally we were only supposed to be covering Birmingham, and then we discovered that Birmingham had its feet in 3 counties, so we had to expand it a bit, and it got expanded more and more and more. So we cover 3 counties, and that's the reason.
I mean, so much information, and I imagine someone who wants to actually trace their family, it's a big task. I mean, where do you start? You
start basically with yourself. You know yourself, you know who your parents are, and you just start with them, their marriage, then you go to their parents and do the same again. It's like climbing a ladder. You start at the bottom and work your way up, and hopefully at some point you might get back to 1538 when parish records started.
Wow, and obviously, I mean, it can be quite time-consuming, can't it?
Oh, very. Yeah. And once you get addicted, you're addicted. You go around cemeteries looking at headstones and all sorts of things, really. It is very addictive.
What's the most common age of people that you get coming in to trace their ancestry?
Probably older, over 50s really, and it would be better if people in their 20s started to think about it then, because the people who you want to ask the questions of are no longer there. And so really people, even if they don't want to do it in their 20s, ask questions, write down the answers, even tape record people, older people, find out what they did when they were a child, where they lived, and all this sort of thing, because when you get to my age there's nobody there to ask. And so, you know, it makes life twice as hard, really.
Yeah. And I mean, I imagine working in this area, you get to hear quite a few good stories, don't you?
Oh, well, yes. I mean, I had one lady this morning who was trying to prove that her mother's children were, their father was actually the lodger and not her married husband.
Okay.
Because she left her husband and then went on to have these children. But she can't actually prove that they are the lodgers because they've got the father's name, you see.
So she's trying to find information to prove that?
To prove it, yes, and it doesn't necessarily crop up if you look at the birth, marriages and deaths, because as a married woman, she's not married to the other person, so she'd have to register the births in her married name. So it wouldn't show the father's name unless he went to register the child with them. So, you know, they're brought up in the married name, but the father might be somebody totally different.
And I know you're tracing your own as well, aren't you?
Yes.
You've got back to the 1800s?
On my husband's side, I'm back to 1600s. On my father's side, I can't get back any further than 1826. This is, most people don't realise this. And I've been doing this an awful long time because my great-grandfather's father was a boatman at Worcester. And on the 1841 census, he's on there and it's asked if he was born in the county, and he says no. And I can't find them on any other census. So
you're stuck at the moment?
I'm stuck at 1826 and I have been for 30 odd years.
I mean, I imagine the way that we trace our ancestors has changed hugely, especially with the development of technology.
Oh yes, oh yes. When I first started, you used to have to go into dusty old record offices and they didn't really want you there looking at their records. The fact that they belong to everybody is neither here nor there. But they didn't want you to look at them. But on the other hand, you got to see the actual paper records, whereas now most of it is on film or, you know, on the internet. So you don't actually see that parish register that dates back 400 years. So you know, there's pros and cons. I mean, it's a lot easier now to do research.
Even though it's still time-consuming, I imagine it's a lot quicker now.
Oh, it is. Yes, it's a lot quicker. Most people could quite easily get back to the beginning of civil registration in 1837 without too much trouble, unless they've, you know, gone off to Canada or somewhere like that. But yes, you should be able to find your ancestors back to 1837.
And I know if I want to get involved and, you know, start tracing my ancestry, where would I start? Because I know you've got a course next week, haven't you?
Yes, we've got a one-day course next Saturday. We call it First Steps in Family History. It's about for people who just want to start, want to know what to look at, and also deal with the organisation of it, really, because you've got to have a system, you've got to be focused. You can't go off willy-nilly and have scraps of paper here and there, because it doesn't work. So when we talk about that, and we talk about census returns, and we deal with wills as well.
So a brilliant start-up with someone looking to trace their ancestry. Well, Jackie, unfortunately that's all we've got time for today, but thank you very much for joining me this evening.
My pleasure.